You're listening to The Alana Show with your host, Alana Vandeveer. One-on-ones with the important people who make our vibrant community run on the True Oldies channel and streaming anywhere in the world at trueoldiesfla.com. Now, here's your host, Alana.
Welcome back to The Alana Show. Today's guest is not only a staple in healthcare leadership, she's a globally recognized force for transformation, vision, and integrity with the mindset of a lifelong athlete and the heart of a purpose-driven leader. Ashley Vertuno serves as the Chief Executive Officer of HCA Florida JFK North Hospital, where she has redefined what it means to lead through change. From increasing operating margins nearly tenfold to building award-winning clinical programs. Ashley doesn't just run a hospital, she reinvents its future. But her influence extends far beyond hospital walls as a global keynote speaker, mentor, board member, and engagement officer for YPO's Global Healthcare Business Network. She's shaping how leaders think about purpose, resilience, and unity, both here and across the world, which is very important. More than titles or numbers, Ashley's impact is deeply profound. She leads with humility, lifts up others, and holds fast to her values in every role, whether in boardrooms, on global stages, or quietly behind the scenes with the people she serves and mentors. Her leadership is strategic, yes, but it's also rooted in care, courage, and unshakable purpose. Ashley, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me here. I'm excited to be here.
Quite the staple in the community and healthcare. So it's very exciting. It's two hot subjects is bringing the community together. And, obviously healthcare is a big and part of our lives. It's where we live.
Everyone's.
Yes, exactly. So Ashley, you've led dramatic transformation at JFK North. What's your personal compass when you're making high stakes decisions that affect so many lives?
I remember walking into JFK North for the first time. It was a place with potential. Mm-hmm. It also had a need for identity. And so I had to listen before I could lead.
Amen.
And what that really happened, or how that happened really was, I started where I grew up. I grew up in Richmond, Virginia, spending the life on the soccer field, having the ability to go coast to coast, not only for soccer tournaments, but also for work, getting to be a chameleon in different communities and see other communities. It taught me the discipline and drive, and now I bring that to hospital leadership. Faith is definitely a foundation for me. My belief in God keeps me centered, keeps me walking with integrity, reminds me that this work that we do in healthcare is a calling.
Mm-hmm.
It's
it brings
not
you to
just
new
a career.
heights. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I was just speaking about this with my team today, that it's about serving others.
Amen.
So I think it really is, going on clarity, consistency, that data-informed empathy when you really are there to make a real impact.
Beautiful. And that's such an important, again, I cannot stress how important healthcare is. And it's, once you go through it, with your family or individuals, or even yourself, you learn how profound it is. So I really find it incredible. How old were you again? I hate to ask, but when you first became CEO, I think this is just incredible.
32.
Oh, I was deep sea fishing. So incredible. And you have this humbleness about you and almost just when you meet you, you want to improve your life, which I think is incredible. So you often speak about vision and culture as equally vital to operations. How do you keep both aligned in a constantly evolving healthcare system?
Well, vision without culture, it's empty. Peter Drucker says culture eats strategy for breakfast, lunch, and probably dinner. So if you really think about it. And I think that's important because without culture, it can stall growth. It can actually stall vision. And I learned that early on in my leadership journey while working with some legacy teams who really channeled vision with culture and making them really rowing in the same direction. I think when I look at it, I reinforce on consistency in the healthcare system. It's about keeping our strategy human-centered. There's a patient at the center of everything we do. And, it's not just the patient in the bed. It also is aligned with the family member that's coming to care for them.
Correct.
And then also the staff that's caring for them. So it's multiple aspects when you think about how healthcare systems evolve. I use storytelling to connect our strategic goals to individual roles. We have what we call CEO connections. Those are definitely where we get the opportunity to talk about patient experiences and those mission moments. And how do we tie back a metric and a number to really a patient behind that.
See, I love that you have that in mind and not just like I'm operating a business. Like we have businesses in here and, I'm very particular. In fact, it's, are they community oriented? Do they have that mindset of I'm not just operating a business. This isn't just, for profit or and so forth. We're keeping in mind that we have people coming in with families that are in a situation that's, dire to them. I mean, I hate to use the word dire, but it's, it's life or death. And to have that personability or to be personal in that regard and have empathy and the knowledge of that level and operate the business is quite incredible.
Well, and I think you operationally, we do have to align on performance expectations to the culture. And really, culture isn't just a poster that you put on the wall. You have to feel it. You have to see it. And then it really takes hold. You have to be able to execute under pressure. I think a lot of what we do in healthcare is under pressure.
I think from the outside in, I've never worked in the industry, but I look at, nurses, doctors. It's kind of like a military. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen next, and you're trained and you go in and do it. And I find it profound when they do have that, like at JFK, it's like that ability to keep that in mind, execute, and, how would you say that? Relate to the people coming in that, we are, they are in pain and scared and, don't know how to do it, but without becoming so, routine rather. Yeah. So thank you.
It's that empathy.
For your leadership.
Yeah.
Empathy. There it is.
Well,
thank you.
and I'm going to throw out there because I think if you think about it, I'll talk a little bit about Michael Jordan. He always talks about those high pressure moments.
Yes.
And like taking the final shot with the game on the line. He didn't shy away from it. In fact, he wanted them. He welcomed them. He has said, he's quoted, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost greater than 300 plus games. And with that, 26 times I've been trusted to take the game winning shot and missed. He's failed over and over again in his life, and that's how he's been successful. That's how he's succeeded. And so I think what people miss with that is Michael Jordan understood something most people did, and that's pressure is a privilege. And it means that you're in the arena, you're doing the work, others are trusting you, counting on you, and believing that you can deliver. And that's what we do in healthcare every day, is serving others, believing we can actually deliver on that excellent, always patient care.
I love that. And, it comes to relation, too, is when you're put under pressure and, you miss the shots and then you succeed and you get that confidence in oneself, which you carry very well. And I think, without even speaking, you can pass it on to others to find that within themselves, to lead themselves. And I think that's why you're CEO there. But I love it. So, is there anybody, other influencer or people that you can think of, as far as culture and, executing?
I think I have it in my office. I have Theodore Roosevelt, the man in the arena.
Okay.
And his amazing speech that he has given. I think that is something that if you can actually hang that in your office, actually have it woman in the arena, but it's the same thing. I mean, you're in there, you're actually the one that's doing the work with blood, sweat, and tears, and really pulling your team together to execute and deliver on what the set objective is. So I'd say that's definitely one. And then I'd add my dad.
Always.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely last but not least.
I have the dad. I love it. So as someone who balances, executive leadership with global mentorship, where do you personally find purpose and replenishment yourself? I mean, you mentioned God, which is huge.
That's the number one question, I think. How do you do it? Thinking about being on back-to-back calls, leading initiatives, and still carving out time to be with friends, family, and so forth. You're right. Where do I recharge? And it really comes down to, for me, it's the fitness, it's travel, church, family, friends, really solo reflection. And finding that time, that reset button. I will say I use my fitness as a huge outlet for therapy as well. It recenters me, it sharpens my focus, but also it allows me to still compete. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important because you're constantly then challenging yourself, whether you're challenging the clock, you're challenging, the other person that's at the gym, or you're trying to beat your own time. Mm-hmm. So there's more to it.
I recently set this goal where it's like, all right, I'm done. I'm like 30 or one more minute. And then all of a sudden I'm going 5 more minutes. It's like your brain tells you to stop before you're done.
You get that runner high.
Yeah. And I think that goes for life in general, like whether you're laying in a hospital bed or you're, running a business. It's, it goes to say you're not done, find it in you and uplift, to keep moving forward. So the mindset you have, I think, is profound as well. And it goes, through the channels and, out the door, healthy.
Yeah.
So thank you for that as well. So many of our listeners are searching for confidence in their own choices, especially around career, family, or community impact. What have you learned about building that confidence as a leader?
I used to think confidence meant having all the answers. Mm-hmm. Now, I know it's about asking better questions. It's trusting your instincts, even when you doubt it. Just being at the table, being in the room. I remember one of my first executive roles, youngest in the room, often only female. And I learned through observation from learning from other executives how they presented and really building that confidence. And I think, a lot of people have the opportunity to observe and really take note of people that they inspire to look up to and to be. And I think that helps build confidence in that sense. It then allows you to see results, and then you're speaking louder.
But you're bringing a part of you to the table with the best aspects of somebody that you were observing.
That's right. You're creating your own leadership style from that, but taking in pieces that you observed from others that you look up to. Confidence, it's not something that you can wait to feel. It's something you earn through action. You grow with it. It's really around failing and succeeding and, getting back up and trying again.
I used to start a ton of businesses, and I did feel like there's, I think even at a young age, everyone kind of feels like this purpose, like a drive, whether and how long it takes to get there. It's God's plan. It's, you have trial and error, you have life. But I do think when you finally feel that confidence, it's from all that. And then you become a leader in that. You happen to do it at a very young age. I mean, in comparison, I think it's profound, but the fact that you speak on it like that and can share it so eloquently is incredible. So thank you.
Well, thank you. It helps to have great role models.
Go on about that, because I think that is way not underappreciated. I think that people that have them very much appreciate and talk about them, and it's kind of a rare case, but I think go on about that, because you're big in that too as well, and you're sharing in the community.
Definitely.
Or paying it forward. Whatever.
Of course. I would highlight, there's a book out there, Carla Harris, it's Expect to Win. Mm-hmm. Profound book, and it talks about advisors, mentors, and sponsors. I was pretty fortunate early on to create my own personal board of directors, to which are people that are mentors, they're advisors, and they're sponsors of me, both in my professional journey, but also personal journey as well. Individuals that I've looked up to, but also, again, where my big dreams are, they're people that have either achieved it or on that way to achieve it that can help to give me the best guidance that I need to be successful. And that's something that her book defines, those 3 roles very clearly, that I would say anyone should really look at, listen, and understand that there are 3 distinct differences between all those roles, and they can really help you be successful.
And what are those 3 again?
It's advisor, mentor, and sponsor.
I love that.
And women technically are over-mentored, under-sponsored.
Okay, now go on about that because I feel it, but I kind of want to explain that a little bit further.
Mentoring, we do a lot of that, whether it's in your company or it's outside, and it's really helping to guide and really provide some expertise in ways that you can solve problems, but more knowledge sharing. It's not giving you the direct answer of how to do it. It's more, I may have been in this scenario. Here's how I assess the situation, and this is what I learned from the scenario. Now, what do you want to do from your situation? Where sponsoring is the person that's in the room when you're not in it, that's putting your name in the hat, that's helping to advocate for you for that next role, that next position, that next project. And so that's something that, we collectively are continuing to work towards as women leaders, is continuing to sponsor other women and make sure that, our names are in the hat when we're not in the room.
And I find that very important. I mean, I've had, male mentors that are in, certain industries like the radio or so that I look up to. But having a woman mentor, not only is it hard to find, it's if you have a very good male mentor, gentleman, and then a very good lady mentor, they can kind of be in the similar area, but then they can go to the way extreme ends, one of the other ways. So it's a huge blessing to have that. How would you propose somebody goes out and finds a young girl in college, maybe just getting out, maybe her second year, or even in junior high school? I think people start thinking of their careers. How do you suggest they go about that? Like if they're looking into healthcare or, anything they're passionate about?
I say tap into really your parents' network at that point. If you're still in school, there's opportunity to get exposed to career options. And, one area here in Palm Beach County is the Girl Scouts of Southeast Florida. Okay. That's an option that's out there. They expose you to multiple careers and industries that allow you to not only know what career options are out there, but introduce you to individuals that are in those fields that may be someone you can reach out to and connect with.
Excellent.
I'll just highlight, we hosted a 5-year-old at our facility who was she wants to be an entrepreneur.
That's
5-year-old
so
Girl
adorable.
Scout. She came and sold cookies to us, and just that one day she got to see the life of healthcare, meet nurses, physicians, respiratory therapists, physical therapists. So in one afternoon, she got exposed to pretty much every single discipline in a hospital. That now she's 5 years old. Who knows what her next path will be when she gets older? Amen.
I love that. And I think people undermine how much she's absorbed there as well. Probably more than a college student who has all these classes in mind, and things, and she's just going up, and that's adorable. Do more of that. Thank you for doing that as well. So healthcare often feels complex or out of reach for everyday citizens. What's one change or program you believe should be more widely known, but it isn't yet?
There's so many things out there that I could highlight on, but I think over the last couple years, one that has really started to take hold is women's health. It has really, it has been, I'd say, misdiagnosed in certain types of diagnoses, and now it's become a central strategy, not just at our facility, but also I think throughout the globe. One area that most women may not know that they actually have is endometriosis.
I agree with that. I think it's more knowledge of the possibilities of this and to go in once a year, go get checked. What do you think prevents people from doing that? Are they scared to know that they have something? Are they just forgetful to, there's people are busy with everyday life?
I think busy with everyday life.
And you got to catch it early. I cannot stress that enough. I think it's,
busy with everyday life. We have so many things going on.
Amen. So you've received prestigious awards for leadership, but anyone who meets you notices your calm and clarity. Where does that grounded presence come from?
Well, I've been told I have a lot of high energy. So calm, I'd say calming under pressure. But it's built through wisdom and the growth of overcoming obstacles throughout my career. I will say I think my father has really reminded me that leadership is both strength and softness. And I've learned that over the years with observing him and really learning from him as a role model. And, you know, my faith keeps me centered. My athletic background, that reminds me about the performance I earn daily, and that my team reminds me that leadership is always a we and not a me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty important when you can show up and you have an awesome team that you just want to be there and help inspire. Mm-hmm. That keeps things pretty grounded.
And when they know what they're doing, or you know how to, you know, well, your leadership knowledge of that. Like I'm high energy. There's no doubt about it. But I mean, it's like you do recognize you're in one of the most demanding like industries, obviously. So you're very calm and clear. I mean, I would say, you know, and I'm sure your team would as well. So I just find it impressive. And did you take time? Like, did you figure that out like during soccer time, or, you know, what steps can people take that, you know, you are high energy, but you can, you know, draw it in and focus and really execute on things? How did you get to that place, or any advice for anybody to do that?
Start with a clear vision, and then also know that nothing's perfect. You have to trial and figure it out. And really, it comes with experience. Mm-hmm. The more that you're exposed to, the more you understand what worked and what didn't work, and then you continue to figure out how this is going to shape what type of situation you're gonna embrace. Yeah. And I think
keep taking shots.
Yeah.
In other words, correct.
Yeah.
No, I agree entirely. And for anybody like that's afraid to do that, what does it hurt to look back and say, you know, that didn't work out for me, but now I'm where I'm supposed to be? I love that attitude. Excellent.
Well, you have to grow from it.
You have to. You will. I mean, it inevitably it'll make you grow, but you got to get out there and do it first. I love that. That's an excellent point. Are you going to write a book, Ashley? No. Or when, rather? I'm not asking. No. I would add it to my little growing collection over there. So, no, thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. So, you mentioned CrossFit and then soccer. So, I do think sports and athletics, obviously you're in the health industry and you see people come in more healthy, you know, tend to maybe generally deal with maybe like a later diagnosis and things. I learned that with my dad. You know, he was healthy. He was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and, you know, he made it, you know, a good 20 years as a form of Parkinson's. But we saw some of his friends, unfortunately, not carrying on a healthy lifestyle who were diagnosed. And I mean, we're talking a couple of years. And so I think, you know, obviously having a supportive, very good, you know, healthcare or place, hospital and so forth, doctors, nurses is important, but also people just caring for their bodies and then being able to relate that in life. Like you can tackle you played, what was it, international soccer?
No,
like no, not international. No.
That would be a dream goal. I did want to be Mia Hamm when I was a kid, so.
You know what I mean. Yeah. Anyway, I didn't make it. My shoe went further than the ball when I kicked the ball in soccer. So to me, you're an international star here.
I did play in Sweden, though. I did. Yeah, so I did play at a tournament there.
I love that. But I do see, I've had athletes in here, I've had business owners, and it seems like athletes especially, like if people can get their kids or grandkids into sports, it's huge because they do have this internal confidence within themselves first, and then they tend to be, you know, either subtle leaders or just they blossom sooner than later in most cases. You know, everybody has their time, but it seems evident anything sports heavy, like generally leads in sooner rather.
Team sports. I mean, think about it.
Correct.
You're on a team. You've got an objective. Mm-hmm. Objective is to win, right? So you put all the best athletes on the team, but they each have a skill. And you have to use all the skills in order to win.
Amen.
It's there's an individual component because you have to continue to work on your own tactics and skills, but then you put it collectively in the team and you win.
I love that. That's exactly. So what advice would you give to someone listening right now who doesn't feel seen but knows deep down they're meant for something more, perhaps benched feeling?
Ooh, that's not a good feeling.
Don't look at it that way. Anyway, we'll pump up the jam for you right now.
I'd say every listener should know if you're waiting for permission to shine, stop. Mm-hmm. Go claim it. Go claim it.
Nobody's going to hand it to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, amen.
I think that that changes people's minds. That's the power, and you've earned it with grace. Your value is not tied to visibility. It's tied to your impact. So keep planting seeds, even if no one is clapping yet. Mm-hmm. That's not the point. I've been underestimated. I've walked into rooms. Let it fuel you, not define you. And
take the shot.
Yeah. And I think overall, I think we put pressure on ourselves because we look at other people's lives, and you may want what they have, but you're not behind. Mm-hmm. And I think that's pretty important. You're in the middle of building something powerful. You keep going. The right people are going to notice. You're going to surround yourself with the right people. And more importantly, you're going to notice your own growth. And I think that's the most important.
That is key to success, to be able to connect with yourself, because the world's going to change around you all the time, especially if you're, currently not doing your purpose, or you are, but you're going to go to new levels, is within you as you grow, and you can handle pretty much anything.
Yes.
You can. I will say that with confidence. I'm going to stop myself, pray a lot, but you can do it. Yes, correct. Lovely. So I like that. I have to, this is kind of all over the news. They're talking about it. I have to mention it. There's a lot of debate and questions regarding the Enhanced Patient Tax Credit, EPTC, most may be familiar with at this moment. Can you simplify for the audience what it is? Where would you suggest people look for more information and do research, or ways to contact the representatives if they want to understand, or, as I encourage everybody to do, is weigh in on the Alana show. So what do you think about, break it down for us, Ashley?
I'll try to keep it as simplistic as possible. But the Enhanced Premium Tax Credit, it helps make health insurance more affordable for individuals and families buying coverage through the marketplace. So that's a place where insurance companies have the ability for individuals, gig workers, self-employed, small businesses to actually purchase health insurance. So in 2021, the American Rescue Plan Act released the value of these tax credits, making them available to all Americans. Mm-hmm. And with the current state, it's actually the act is actually to expire at the end of 2025. And so this affects 4.1 million Americans in Florida specifically that have insurance. They've bought it from the marketplace. So this is small businesses, less than 50 individuals that are employed in that small business, gig workers, individuals, or even if you're self-employed. The list really goes on. I would equate it to, I think a very simplistic example, if you were to put yourself in this, would be my CrossFit coach, prime example, self-employed and buys his health insurance from the marketplace. If you look at it, the enhanced premium tax credits are to expire at the end of this year. But a family of four or my CrossFit coach's annual premiums, they're going to increase by 2 to 3 times of what they currently pay today if the enhanced premium tax credit is not extended. So what that means overall is that some may not keep their insurance. It may increase medical costs for them. And overall, meaning loss of coverage for Americans in the state of Florida and really throughout the entire U.S. It's 24 million Americans across the U.S. So I'd say the call to action is to go to americancovered.org or email your congressmen and senators to extend the enhanced premium tax credit.
When is that vote? Or I'm sure it's coming up, the vote. Yeah, again, on the Alana show, we are big on community and just encouraging people. Look into, even if you're not affected by it, do some research, look into it. And, that I really want to do a roundtable on that. I would love for you to sit on that, or, somebody within the hospital that's, I want insurance experts, within the healthcare, and then some business owners, things like that. You only have so many chairs, but they can call in. But I really think it's a hot topic. I think it's very important to a lot of people, and I really think it startles people. So I'm glad that you're putting it out there for people to look into and take action, whether it's just research or, go to the website and, get involved. Get involved.
Yeah, definitely get involved. Know what's going on around you.
All the time. Amen. So, Ashley, I appreciate you coming in today and taking the time. And Ashley Vertuno reminds us that leadership is not about being needed. It's about showing up with vision, values, and unwavering resolve. She doesn't just run hospitals. She builds trust, uplifts talent, and champions solutions that reach beyond boardrooms and into the hearts of communities. Whether you're a student, a policymaker, a caregiver, or someone wondering how to make a difference, let this conversation remind you that your path doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. It just has to be led with purpose. And in Ashley's case, passion and energy. So stay tuned, stay inspired, and keep pushing forward right here on The Alana Show. Thank you.